This is another test for Randy Bush. Randy, can you hear us?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's is something wrong? My name is Andrzej Filip. I'm the chair of the executive board of RIPE NCC, and it's right about the time to start our general meeting. Before we start, I have a few administrative matters. I appointed Athena Fraguli, the Chief Legal Officer of RIPE NCC, as a secretary for this general meeting, and she was so kind to accept it because she's always very kind. Also, I would like to inform you that there will be minutes from the meetings, and the draft of the minutes will be finished 2 working days after general meeting, which is planned to be Tuesday, 28th of May. And the members have 3 weeks to submit a notice of objection to the general meeting minutes, and the objection will be collected using a tool linked to the general meeting page on our website. And unless we receive a notice of objection signed by at least 100 members within 3 weeks of publication of the draft minutes of the meeting will be final and binding. And the objection system will be available from the GM web pages from 28th of May. So that's administrative. I have one more plea for you. You know, we were requested by several members that they don't want to be disturbed by excessive photographs and stuff like that. So I would like to ask you to not to use your cameras. Even the official photographer will be not in the room. Of course, for the transparency, we are streaming, and we have about 125 people online. But so we will just use those video cameras. But please don't use your cameras. Thank you very much. With that, we finish point number 1 of the agenda, and this is the agenda as it was prepared by the executive board. We have 1 amendment, and that's point number 7, which is called Keep Current Billing Scheme for the next year. We kind of put it to the similar place as agenda point number 6, because we believe that the billing scheme is the same thing as the charging scheme, which was the point we proposed. So with that, I would like to ask Hans-Peter for his report from the RIPE NCC.
Thank you very much. You have heard me already in the services working group, so that's those presentations are part of the GM, but I thought I would use the opportunity here to dive into some more detail in some of the things I touched upon. So first of all, you've heard in the BOF yesterday, and also me mentioning that the RIPE NCC has a 5-year strategy, and we produce an activity plan that we approve at the end of the year. The board approves, and then we do an annual report and a financial report based on this. So last year we made the activity plan and budget for 2024 that we know executing on. So the year plan for how we develop this, you can see here, it's part of the activity plan itself. So we know in the spring meeting where we discussed the charging scheme, and then that is set as an input to and set the directions for the activities that we can do. I've heard that there are members that think we should do this differently, and we will look into that, but this is our current planning structure, and changing that is, of course, something that affects a lot of the organization. So looking at why we're here, going back all the way to our vision, we're not here to go somewhere. We're here on a journey together to shape the future of the internet. And I think that's worth to bear in mind. And that kind of frames the strategy that I talked about earlier today, where the community set up the RIPE NCC to support the community, to operate the RIR, and also enable members and community operate one secure, stable, and resilient global internet. And for that, we need a stable organization governed by you, the members in the general meeting. And this is really important that we take this seriously. And of course, we need engaged, competent, diverse staff to handle this. But we're not only accountable to the members, we're part of a much bigger ecosystem. So, as I said, we are accountable to the community as their secretariat. We facilitate discussions and implement their policies. RIPE members as a membership-based association under Dutch law, that's you guys. And we also need to be very careful to be neutral towards our members and treat them equally, which is increasingly difficult in today's political landscape. We're also accountable to governments in our service region, not only to the Dutch government and implementing Dutch and EU law, but also understanding the implications of other national implications that applies to our members, so we don't make it impossible or difficult for our members to use our services. And then we're part of a system of global internet governance and internet operations. And the registry system is an important part of that, together with the root service system that we also run one of the root services. So it's important to bear in mind that we're part of a much bigger picture than just keeping a list of numbers. So looking at our community engagement, the way we put this together is we need to offer something when we go and talk to the governments, and to be a partner and have a seat around the table when governments discuss how to regulate their part of the world. So having data and turning that into insight and reports, that's really important to have that as an input to discussions with you, with the community. It's important to see where do we need more knowledge through that we can help increase through training services, and bringing the power of the community together with our ability to produce reports and give insights and training services to the government makes us a player here. This is the way we're thinking about this as a whole, right? Take out one of these bits and it will be much more difficult for us to get a good dialogue with governments and be taken seriously. That's why we have the current mix of our community and engagement activities. The registry, I've heard, and as I said earlier on, that, oh, we have a declining membership. As I said in Services Working Group, that's not true. Our membership number is flat. It's 20,000 and a bit, and it stays roughly the same. The number of LIRs have declined from the 20,000 and something on top towards 20,000. So from 25,000 to 20,000 over these years. In 2019, in the registry, you can see that the number of tickets were really high because we did a lot of manual work in handling and investigating sanctions. So we had additional temps in the organization to handle that. Moving forward, the number of tickets is roughly flat. But the nature of the tickets have changed a lot. Looking at our budget and the number of FTEs, not much of a change there for the budget and the FTEs in the registry. So we're kind of handling the same load of tickets with the same number of people. But the nature of the tickets and the work we do has changed a lot. Today we're dealing with sanctions and sanctions investigations. You saw in a graph from Marco in the previous sessions that we also deal with falsified documents, and that's now skyrocketed around the end of last year, and now we're really wondering what's happening there. And we also, as a result of the sanction screening, we monitor all members towards external databases, and around 15% of the members have changes that we discover, and we have to investigate that. And that's around 5% of our ticket load. So we are now more proactive and detect things before it happens. And sure, there is more we can do to automate. There was a talk earlier here about ARCs. And yes, we would like to do checks more often than every 5 years, but that means automating a lot of that process. And yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, we wouldn't have to do any ARCs, so we didn't have to do any monitorings because all the members would keep all the data up to date all the time. That's, you know, that would have been cool, right? There is also a shift in work from members to end users. This is a graph from the article that James Kennedy, my Chief Registry Officer, published on development in AS numbers. And it's much easier for us to hand out AS numbers to members, to LIRs, because they're a member, we have their registration data and so on, than to end users, because we need to check who they are. We need to check that they're not on the sanctions list. Even though they're not our direct customers, sanctions law still applies to services that we provide to end users. So that's adding a lot of effort on this. And I was asked last year, what does it cost you to handle an AS number? Well, that's not an easy calculation, but somewhere between 150 and 250 euros a year to maintain an end user, whether it's just a PI or an AS number. That's the order of magnitude that we're talking about. And this is also the background for proposing a charging scheme now that we increase some of the cost in that area. Now, the way we price things and the way the cost structure is doesn't necessarily have to match, but we think it's we think it's worthwhile to actually look at this and develop that further. Technology, you saw Felipe's presentation here. We've invested a lot in looking at the architecture for the data center and optimizing that and really reducing the footprint. Some of this we're moving out to bare metal in European cloud providers. Some of it we're moving to another cloud provider in order to have flexibility. And there is a lot of changes going on in IT and in the fundamental infrastructure. And this is the start of it. And of course, when we're done with this, we will look for other optimizations as well. So to go back to the planning, we're now in May at RIPE 88. In June, I will have a new board. You will elect 2 new board members. The board will then give me direction for what to do next year. Then I will discuss this with the executive team in July, and we will develop internal activity plans, draft plans in August. And then some staff also would like to go on vacation, and we will try to accommodate that as much as possible. And in September, the board will approve a draft activity plan and budget to be published for discussion with the members at the October RIPE meeting. And we have all of November to incorporate feedback for the board to approve the activity plan and budget for 2025 next year. So all of you that wants to contribute and give input to the future direction can do that in this timeline here. We will do the groundwork internally, and then we will publish this and discuss it at the next RIPE meeting. So, to sum up how to contribute, engage in RIPE, the working groups, comment and make suggestions to our quarterly roadmaps. Sure, they can get better, but we need feedback, and we need you to engage with the different activity leads and product owners to, keep them on their toes and say, okay, could we do more of this or less of this? And here are some ideas that you should work on. Engage in your NOGs or regional meetings. That's the ambassadors of this community at large. I mean, most of you are a member of local NOG or participate in regional NOGs. I mean, go out there and bring knowledge, both from the RIPE meetings out there and back again. That's really important for this community. Comment on the activity plan and budget, as I said, and also be mindful that changes need to be carefully analyzed and implemented. It's really easy to destroy something that's been built over 32 years. And then if we destroy it, then it may be completely impossible to rebuild it. I'm not saying I'm allergic to change. My colleagues know that I love change, and I think that's great fun, to their big frustration. But I do believe that we need to make small changes and know what we're doing in order to get the desired effect. So that's what I wanted to share with you on top of my previous presentations. Any questions?
That was really quick. Thank you very much. Although it was a continuation of a presentation that was shared recently, as we usually do. Now I think I should deliver a report from the executive board. Excellent. Thank you very much. So, not yet. Oh, excellent. So now, except you don't see it physically, you can also see the beautiful picture of that talented group. They are listed on the screen from top to down by the order on the photography. So first is Job Snyder. Second, the guy with the charming hairdo is Ondřej Filip, myself. Then Raimond Jetten, the treasurer, Maria Hell, Remco van Mook, Harald Zuma, and Piotr Střiževský, the secretary of the board. Since the last meeting, we had 4 meetings. Usually we have 2-day meeting in December when we evaluate the whole year, and also we approve the activity plan and budget, as Hans-Peter just previously mentioned. Then, of course, we didn't have a meeting during Christmas time, but that was an email discussion. Another meeting was on 26th of March, and also we had an extraordinary meeting in 6th of May, because we discussed the current situation with the charging scheme, and you saw an output from that meeting. All the board meetings are minuted, and here's the URL where you can see the meeting. We approved several documents. First of all, the RIPE NCC activity plan for this year. We requested for feedback. We usually do not get much of it, so that was the same this year, although we incorporated some of the feedback and approved the final version of it. Then also we approved the financial report from the previous year, and also a new report from the previous year. We amended some of the documents and policies. 2 of them are related to voluntary resource log, and that was the change of transfer of internet number resources and change of members' official legal name. And the second document is independent internet number resources, contractual relationship changes between sponsoring LIR and end user. And third document is RIPE database acceptable use policy. Basically, the change is related to the fact that the queries were accounted for by IP address, and we added also accounting for login by a single sign on service to the query system. We passed several resolutions. First of all, we appointed Lydia, Sami, and Nuno to the available seats on the Community Project Fund Selection Committee to serve a minimum term of 1 year and maximum of 3 years. We also agreed to donate 50,000 euros to the Rob Bloxile Foundation for the foundation to support this mission. We approved the selection of an investment partner that will manage the investment portfolio. You will get a little bit more information later. We also approved the risk appetite statement as presented during our meeting number 172. And also we approved the RIPE NCC activity plan and budget with the addition of 200,000 euros to external engagement and community, which was one of the feedback we got. Also, we approved the amendments to the RIPE NCC procedure documents, transfer of internet number resources, and change of a member's official legal name, and independent internet number resources, contractual relationship between sponsoring LIR and end users. I think I mentioned it already. We approved a resolution of incorporation of a free zone limited liability company in Dubai Development Authority free zone. I guess this was presented several times, but I will have a separate slide on this. Again, as I said, we approved the amendments to the RIPE database acceptable use policy, and we selected the following individuals to form the code of conduct team for this year's election. So that's happening right now. It's Sebastian Becker, Dr. Omid Mahdi Abadati, Nick Hillard, Arnold Nippel, and Cynthia Revström. Thank you very much for your volunteering work. Thank you. Also, we approved the submission of audited financial report for the last year. We approved the annual report for the last year and published the document. And thing which is really widely discussed in the mailing list, and I'm sure some discussion will continue here and definitely after the meeting as well, we approved the submission of the RIPE NCC charging scheme for the next year. And, that's a subject of this general meeting as well. And sure, we approved the publication of the agenda for this meeting. So the resolution about the Dubai kind of company, it was the incorporation of Free Zone Limited Liability Company in Dubai Development Authority Free Zone under name of style of RIPE NCC Middle East FZ LLC. The capital of the company is 50,000 dirhams, and there shall be 50 shares all subscribed to RIPE NCC. So RIPE NCC is the only owner of this company, and Hisham Ibrahim is appointed as the first general manager of this company. If you want to know more about the resolution and what everything, there is a link. You can read it. So, important topics discussed. Of course, the budget for the next year, but that's something we will continue to discuss. But we discussed the outlook of the budget. Also, the way we use country codes. There are several concerns about some of the country codes, but we strictly stick to ISO list, and sometimes it creates some issues. We continued our action points from the joint IPNIC RIPE meeting, which was during the last RIPE meeting. We established a company. That was, of course, an important topic to discuss. Charging scheme for the next year, we discussed several times, and also aligning the RIPE NCC strategic objectives with funding. So the charging scheme, maybe I will repeat the arguments that several others repeated as well, but just let me summarize. Charging scheme is always something that the board concentrates fully. We try to get input, we run the survey, we also run the open house on this topic where we presented, or let us say we asked for the members' inputs. It was a very nice meeting. It was, I think, in March, if I'm not mistaken. And that input led us to a conclusion to draft the charging scheme the way we drafted it. On the other hand, once it was published, there was a very strong feeling from a significant, I must say, section of the membership. The resolution, which now is on the agenda, was signed by 700 members. So we take it very seriously, and we understand that there is a large group of members who disagree with the current proposed charging scheme. So that's something we respect, and we will continue to talk to them. And so we understand it, but because of the several reasons that are mentioned, that we cannot amend the agenda of the general meeting, we cannot just a few moments before the general meeting kind of introduce a completely new charging scheme without the proper analysis and stuff like that. We decided to keep the resolution as it is. However, as I said, we understand the discussion will continue. I don't say that the fact that some of the alternative, which was suggested by the board, will be approved means that they stay static. We will continue the discussion. We would like to start a kind of task force to discuss which way the charging scheme should develop, meaning not the exact numbers, but what the structure of the fees. And let's hope it will be quick and we will have some results soon. So again, we understand that we recognize the voice, we take it seriously. It's a lot of members. It's the first time in the history when the members amended the agenda of general meeting. So that's a strong signal, and we will definitely follow on that. Oh yeah, I forgot I have a slide on that. But anyway, I think that was roughly what I said. We didn't want to rush something, The worst thing you can do for such an organization, such an important organization, is to do something quickly. So again, we stick with the agenda as proposed, but we will continue. And if we will have some very solid draft of the charging scheme, which will be supported by analysis and documents, we are happy to present it to the members as soon as it's done properly. And again, there was also a more forward-looking approach started by by board and namely by Remco. We also started a discussion about the more distant future of RIPE NCC. So we don't want to just focus on charging scheme and budget, which are the short-term goals, but also we started a discussion about a little bit long-term changes. And there was a very interesting both, and I thank everyone who participated because there was a lot of very inspirative suggestions how NCC and the community should move forward. And I just remind you that the ongoing work we are working on is building a stable future for RIPE NCC, also keeping in mind the stable financing. We work with Hans-Peter to ensure good information sharing and high engagement levels, which I think works pretty well. And lastly, but not leastly, fulfilling corporate governance and fiduciary responsibilities. You are always welcome to send some feedback to the board. We have several options, which nowadays they are really intensively used. One of them is mailing list, of course. I would like to let you understand that the fact that we do not react to every email doesn't mean we don't read it and we don't analyze that. But the board is 7 individuals, so to reach a consensus takes some time. So we cannot react individually to every email. However, we read them, we understand the importance of the discussion for some of the members. So we usually react in a little bit slow time frame, but we try to address all the issues. But again, we don't have the capacity to reply to every email, but that's how the 7 people body works. Also, there are special topics when we request specialist feedback, which is charging scheme. That's why we launched the open house. And it seems that it was not really the idea of the open house was not very well spread among the membership, because the amount of people who participate in the discussion during the open house was much lower than the amount of people who, for example, signed or supported the amendment of general meetings agenda. And of course, again, as also was mentioned by Hans-Peter, the activity plan and budget, I hope that we will get much more feedback this year than what happened in the previous years. So I'm really looking forward to it, because I understand there are some strong ideas, some strong statements from members who would like to reform somehow the way NCC is operating. But again, just please keep in mind we are bound by the Articles of Association, Dutch law, and any common international law as well, of course. We also informally sometimes monitor the chat. The chat was not the Telegram chat. I mean, it was not. It's not provided by NCC, so it's not an official channel for us. Some of us, I mean, board member, but also the staff members usually reply and monitor that, but it's not the official chat. So please do not expect that everything that was kind of said there is read by us. And also we ask for input on specific NCC services, which is usually one reason we have the NCC working group. And again, we are here to talk to you right now, of course, which is a very formal way, and I understand it doesn't have to be comfortable for everyone. But we are also physically attend all the social events. We are there. Mailing list was mentioned many times. We organize the open houses, and I really suggest you to attend them if possible, because that's usually the best way how we can quickly react to some of the ideas. And also, as I said, we monitor some of the chats and so on. Also, do not forget there is usually on Monday a meet the board kind of meeting or social event. The last time I got one interaction from one newcomer, he asked me where is the toilet. But this time I had a very lovely discussion about the nature of IP address, if it's a thing or right or stuff like that. So that was inspirative, but that was my only interaction with somebody who is new in the community. So again, please don't be shy. We are there to talk to you, and just approach us. We are very open and friendly people. And of course, you can email us directly to execboard@ripe.net. Opposition to, kind of distill something solid from all the input is complicated. And unless we know exactly what is the, how the structure of the membership, how all the parts of the membership thinks, it's complicated. That was one of the reasons we do the regular survey, because that should answer many of the questions, and we should know how the membership is thinking, what they want us to do. So again, once there will be something like that, new surveys, please participate and try to be frank. That's probably all. Again, we try to summarize the reasoning behind the reaction to the new situation in the email that was sent to NCC Announce. And that's it. Before I will open mic, I have one very nice occasion. I would like to thank one of the board members who decided not to be elected anymore. He's not candidating. So, Mr. Snyders, I would like to thank you for the service, for the amazing 3 years with you. I must say I've learned a lot of things about you, because you are really a great expert, especially in the area of routing security and stuff like that. And also the way you directly tackle some of the problems was something inspirative for me. So thank you so much. It was great time to work with you. And sorry. Sure.
Thank you all for having been given the opportunity to serve this community for 3 years in this capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I'm opening discussion. And if you have any question, feel free. Also, there will be a discussion about charging scheme later. Don't forget that. Don't use all your arguments now. Please, Pavel.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I'm candidate for executive board for those elections. First of all, I would like to thank you for hearing our voices or concerns about charging scheme, and thank you for your decision to form task force on work on it. And only my contribution will be just to have representatives from members, from different types of members, from different regions, to fairly represent our community as much as possible.
That's a very good point, which I forgot to mention. Thank you for that addition. We discussed that already, although there will be a formal board meeting where we'll really kind of draft the precise rule, but we really want to accommodate all the segments of the membership, means geographically, but also from the point of view that how they reacted to the proposed charging scheme. So we definitely want to have proportional representatives from all those groups. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you for it.
Okay, thank you very much. With that, I'll ask RIPE NCC CFO to come on stage, and floor's yours.
Nope. So, hello, can everybody hear me all right? Well, just a short introduction. My name is Simon Jan Heiting, CFO at the RIPE NCC. This is my 7th time presenting at the GM and the 4th financial report. All 4 financial reports I have presented have had a clean opinion from our external auditors. So I just wanted to give our finance team a compliment. Great work there. So let's get into it. To start off, I wanted to ensure full disclosure. We corrected a small mistake on page 6 of the financial report. Initially, we stated we have been 2.7 thousand euros below budget. And this, of course, had to be 2.7 million euros. As CFO, I am proud that we have been able to achieve this, something that we could have not have done without the hard work and dedication of all RIPE NCC staff. And we will do everything we can to ensure a focus on efficiency and to cut costs wherever we can. So we are not done here. A short recap of our financial strategy. We have a not-for-profit funding model, and we operate on a cost recovery basis. Our funding strategy aims to generate sufficient income so we can fulfill our obligations in a stable and predictable manner. And we are committed to maintaining a low risk profile. The financial update. Financial performance indicators. Income was 4% under budget, and costs were 7% under budget. And we have 4% less LER accounts than we have budgeted for at year end. The financial story. Income is under budget with 1.6 million euros at 38.4 million. Annual fee income is at 36.9 million. The budget 2023 included income from the membership fee at risk with 22,500 LER accounts. The costs have been 2.7 million euro under budget, and personnel costs have been over with 550,000 euros. Other operating expenses under budget with 3.2, and depreciation has been under budget with 98,000 euros. This resulted in a positive operating result of 1.144 million euros. The positive operating result ensured a redistribution to our members of 1.1 million euros. And I'm happy to share that we have managed to ensure a positive financial result on our reserves of 524,000 euros. This resulted in a surplus before taxes of 568,000 euros. And we have a corporate income tax position payable of 23,000 euros, which is based on our fiscal result. End result for 2023 is a surplus of 546,000 euros, which has been added to the clearinghouse reserves. Contrary to last year, we have indeed managed to provide a redistribution. Contributing factors here have been the reduced income due to ultra-risk countries and less income from sign-up fees compared to budget. This has been offset by our cost-cutting activities in 2023 compared to budget. And our efforts to cut costs will continue in 2024 and beyond. On average, this meant a redistribution of 54 euros per LER account. An update on banks and sanctions. Our banking environment remains complex due to the sanctions and the bank's definition of ultra-risk countries. Unfortunately, we do not have a solution at this point in time, but we continue to work on this issue. Accounting-wise, we are not allowed to record this income in the profit and loss, as it remains uncertain that these funds will actually end up in our bank account. All payment obligations still stand and have been recorded in our balance sheet. The balance sheet of 2023. It shows an increase of just under 2 million euros, which is explained by the postponed income from ultra-risk countries and the redistribution over 2023. Financial fixed assets show an increase of 6 million due to a 6.6 million new investment in an investment portfolio by our new investment partner. And by the end of the year, one government bond reached end of term. Current receivables. Here you see the increase is the postponed ultra-risk income. And lastly, a decline in cash at banks explained by the 6.6 million investment and the redistribution of 1.1 million in cash. Zooming in on the capital and liabilities of our balance sheet, we see the addition of the surplus of 546,000 euros to our reserves. And we see the increase due to the to-be redistributed membership fees. And an increase in other current liabilities is again explained by the deferred income from the ultra-risk countries. All other items have remained stable. Income. Total income is at 38.4 million and 4% below budget. Annual membership fees are 36.9 compared to 34.1 million in 2022. Sign-up fees are at 809,000 compared to 1.6 million in 2022. RIPE meeting income was 17% below budget, and other income was 20% below budget. Member and LER details. We had 20,077 individual members at year end, a modest reduction of 154 compared to 2022. 21,570 active LER accounts at the end of the year, of which 702 are from ultra-risk countries. We had a net reduction of 1,813 LER accounts. We welcomed 967 new LER accounts in 2023, while we recorded 809,000 in sign-up fee income. This difference is explained by new members from ultra-risk countries. 2,780 LER accounts closed in 2023, which is in line with the expected consolidation of multiple LER accounts. A visual overview of the LER accounts versus our members, which shows two things: the consolidation of the multiple LER accounts and the stable member development. Membership income 2023. Membership income is defined as income directly derived from the membership. Years prior to 2022 are high due to the sign-up fee of €2,000 per new LER account and the high inflow of these new LER accounts. From 2022 onwards, this income is lower due to less new LER and the sign-up fee being €1,000. And of course, the exclusion of ultra-high-risk countries in our income. The increase in 2023 is due to the LER fee increase from €1,400 to €1,550. Membership fees at risk. We define membership fee at risk as fees at risk for non-payment outside of the regular business scope. Ultra-high-risk countries as defined by Dutch banks, and for us, this affects our member in Iran and Syria. And of course, members who are affected by sanctions. In 2023, we continued the payment extension for the Ukrainian members and provided a similar payment extension for Turkey, who were affected by the earthquake. In 2024, we no longer provide country-based extensions. We have and will offer the possibility to request individual extensions, of which we currently have 86, 5 from Palestine and 81 from Ukraine. Requests will be reviewed on an individual basis and applied if there's a conflict or natural disaster. This way, we hope to provide help where it's needed and ensure fees are paid by those who can. To be clear, it's not our intention to close down members, but we want to collect as much information as possible so we can make informed decisions. To quantify these numbers, for 2021, we still have €145,000 outstanding as per today. For 2022, this amounts to just over €1 million. And for 2023, this amounts to almost €1.5 million as per today. Overall, this means €2.7 million of membership fee at risk at year-end 2023, of which the majority is from ultra-high-risk countries. We continue to do what we can to be able to be in a position to collect these funds without putting the RIPE NCC at risk. But however we look at this, we have a significant portion of our income at risk. Moving on to our expenditures. To start with our cost breakdown, the total expenditure for 2023 has been €37.3 million compared to 34.6 in 2022, which is 7% below budget. Main cost driver for the RIPE NCC are personnel costs, with 59% or €22.1 million of the total costs. Next in line is consultancy, with 10% or €3.9 million. IT infrastructure is at 10 or €3.7 million. All other categories are 6% or less. Zooming in on the cost variances compared to the budget. We are over budget in personnel costs, bank charges, and bad debt. All other items are under budget, with consultancy and outreach and PR being the most significant ones. Both cost items have a more one-off character, and with that are a little bit easier to stop spending. Personnel costs. Personnel costs are 2.6% over budget for 2023. Actual average FTE has been 180.7 compared to a budget of 190.6. Due to a tight labor market in the Netherlands and high inflation, we have seen an upward trend in salaries in the Netherlands. We also conducted an external salary benchmark to ensure we pay in line with the market, as we need to ensure we remain competitive with our remuneration, which resulted in additional costs. And of course, we had the regular performance-related increases, unfortunately some incidental such related to severance, and a performance bonus and a bonus related to performance. Next item, IT infrastructure, under budget with €560,000 for 2023. A clear result of our efforts to reduce costs. Although IT housing has been affected by inflation considerably, therefore is over budget. And Felipe, our CTO, together with his team, is working hard on further cost savings for 2024. Consultancy, €1.2 million below budget. Another good achievement in my opinion, but relying less on consultancy does increase the pressure on our workforce. Costs for employees of record are recorded on the consultancy, as technically they are consulting for the RIPE NCC. This employee of record solution allows us to hire staff locally where they can work most efficient. A decision to use an employee of record construction lies with RIPE NCC management. This is not a decision an individual staff member can make. Please note, an employee of record will be offered salaries in line with the local market, so this can be cheaper, but of course it can also be more expensive depending on the country. Outreach and PR, €611,000 below budget. RIPE and regional meeting have been slightly over budget, training exactly on budget, and outreach and Outreach, PR, and marketing have been the major cost savings here. Next item that has been over budget is bank charges and bad debt with 160,000 euros. Bank charges, 43,000 euro over budget as we budgeted for 2023, assuming a redistribution. Bad debt, 116,000 euros over budget due to the uncertainty in relation with Ukraine payment extensions. So 2.7 million euro under budget on costs. Average cost per LER was 1,727 euros versus an average income per LER of 1,749. Again, here we see the average cost per LER going up due to the decline of multiple LER accounts and raising costs. But we do see the average costs and income being more in line. Related parties 2023. Related parties are parties that have a relation with the executive board members or management of the RIPE NCC. In 2023, we had transactions with CZ.NIC, Akamai, ICANN, and PairingDB. Additionally, we contributed 50,000 to the Robloxau Foundation and the OpenSea Cert Foundation. All transactions have been in line with regular business. New in the financial report is the section Other Information. We have an obligation to disclose any subsidiaries that are or have been established. This aligns nicely with our efforts to be transparent and gives you as the members certainty that we have an obligation to be transparent. Reasoning for the Dubai entity, to further professionalize and improve our presence in the Middle East. Significant steps have been taken, but we still have considerable work to do to finalize this project, which ultimately aims to establish a separate operational legal entity in Dubai. Treasury. Financial income and expenditure. A better year than 2022, that is for sure. We can report a 524,000 positive financial result, of which 323 is unrealized. We have 268,000 from interest income, and unfortunately, we had a 67,000 euro negative exchange result. Our investment portfolio was valued at 13.6 million at the year end, compared to 7.6 million in 2022. One of our government bonds reached end of term in 2023, and a 6.6 million euro investment was made for our new investment partner. Overall, a 1.6 return on our clearinghouse reserve of 32.1 million euros. I'm happy to report that we have been successfully onboarded by our new investment partner, Dassim Managed Accounts. After a long and thorough process, we transferred 10 million euros to our new UBS account, and UBS acts as our custodian account. Dassim invested 6.6 million euros before year end, and in February 2024, the full 10 million was invested. Current value of the total investment portfolio is 16.9 million. On the 10 million investment via our investment partner, return year to date is 141,000 euros. Expected return for the full year is 3.6%. Or 360,000 euros. Dassim will make investment decisions within the framework of our treasury statute, which is yearly reviewed and approved by the executive board. One priority in the statute is liquidity. Our reserves must be available quickly in a worst case scenario. So the majority of this portfolio is available within a week. From our investment partner, in regards to the 10 million invested. Our investment portfolio is designed for an uncertain world by delivering stable returns through a focus on risk management and consists of 3 buckets. 60% money market funds deliver stable and positive returns. 26% fixed income invests in a wide range of fixed income products and has a higher risk profile than money market funds. The last 14% in fixed income satellite invests in fixed income products that are less sensitive to longer term interest rate and credit spreads. And with that offers diversification. Eventually, I do hope that we can increase the amount investment, a decision that will require board approval. And I think this is a step in the right direction, as myself and the finance team are no investment specialists. And I have the full trust in Dassim and their capabilities. Taxes. Corporate income tax. Over 2023, we had an effective corporate income tax rate of 4.04% and a payable tax position of 23,000 euros. Our fiscal tax rate has been 19% as the fiscal result has remained under the 200,000 euros. The effective tax rate is very low as per our agreement with the tax authorities. We can redistribute any excess funds without a tax liability. which resulted in a fiscal surplus of 122,000 euros. And of course, we are allowed to exclude the financial report from corporate income tax. Capital and liability. A slide you will all recognize by now. We remained balanced and healthy. We have a clearinghouse reserve of 32.6 million to respond to uncertainties. Membership fee at risk, LER consolidation, inflation, and declining income remain a concern. Our clearinghouse reserve has remained stable, but with the high inflation and challenges we have faced, our cost base has risen, explaining the capital expense ratio showing a decline. However, we are solvent and in a robust financial position. And with that, we are ready for the future. And as you all will know, we have a charging scheme vote coming up. As every year, EY has audited our financial statements and provided an unqualified or clean opinion for 2023. This means that our financial statements give a true and fair view and are free of material errors. This means an external and objective confirmation that we have our financial administration in order. I've looked a bit back in time, and I can state that we have a very long streak of clean audit opinions, a streak we will work on to continue. An accomplishment I'm very proud of, as our financial environment has become more complex over the last few years. Before ending this presentation, I will provide a short update on the 2024 financials. An income budget of 38 million and a cost budget of 38.2 million. We expect to see further multiple LER consolidation in which the number of LER accounts will match the number of members. This will impact our financial stability. We do see a stable member development, even with a slight increase. We continue to engage with our banks to find a solution to resolve the payment issues for members impacted by sanctions and banking regulations. But this uncertainty in our service region remains a concern. The charging scheme is a major topic at this moment and has an impact on the future of the RIPE NCC in our community. I also expect this topic to remain high on the agenda for the foreseeable future. Payment behavior. We see comparable payment behavior from our members as compared to previous years. That being said, we still have 408 invoices outstanding, or 2%, which represents about 650,000 euros. 28% of this represents our Ukrainian members who have an extension until the end of this month, leaving about 324 members who will be eligible for closure based on non-payment. In previous years, we have closed between 0.5 and 1% of our LER accounts due to non-payment, which is between 1 to 200 LER accounts. Membership fee at risk 2024. At this moment, this amounts to 1.6 million. 1.2 million for ultra-risk countries. 268K related to sanctions and 204 related to Ukraine. Overall, this means 4.3 million euros of membership fees at risk at this point in time. Whatever way we look at this, this is significant, and you will understand that solving this is a priority for us. We are doing everything we can to collect in a risk-free manner while helping LERs in need where we can. I do expect parts of the sanctions and Ukraine will be collectible in the near future. If we were to be in a position that we could collect funds from the ultra-risk countries, this could ensure an extra one-off inflow of revenue. This income would be part of the revenue in the year that we collect these fees, and with that, part of the result of that year and included in the redistribution vote. April profit and loss figures. Income is under budget by 700,000 euros, explained by fewer new LERs than anticipated and the income from the ultra-risk countries. Expenses are under budget with 800,000, as the first quarter of the year is traditionally slower in costs. All cost categories are currently under budget. 2024 full year forecast. Income is forecasted to be 2.2 million euros below budget. New LER applications are expected to be lower than budgeted. Membership fee at risk remains an issue for 2024, and we have excluded this income from the forecast. That being said, if we can collect these fees, we will very likely break even or maybe even better. Expenses are forecasted to be on budget, as at this point in time, I do not see any reason to forecast anything else than our cost budget, resulting in a forecasted negative result over 2024 of 2.4 million euros, of which we expect to be compensated slightly by a positive financial result of 600,000 euros. RIPE 89 and the next GM. Please do expect a redistribution vote at the next GM. And this could very well be a vote to redistribute the negative surplus or to deduct this from the clearinghouse reserves. This will have a dependency on the collectability of funds from the ultra high-risk countries. To wrap up this presentation, just a short recap of the 2023 financial result. We remain in a stable financial position. Income has been under budget, costs have been under budget, resulting in a positive operating result of 1.1 million euro, which has been redistributed to our members. A financial result on a clearinghouse reserve of 524,000 euros, which has been added to our reserves. But we do have legitimate concerns: decrease of income, inflation, volatile markets, and membership fee at risk. And that brings me to the end of my presentation and to Resolution 1. The General Meeting adopts the RIPE NCC Financial Report 2023. And with that, I'd like to open the floor for any questions.
We have a question from Meet Echo from a remote participant. Kai Niemi asks a question to the CFO. What is the period you keep ultra high risk accounts receivables around? I mean, they cannot be kept forever, so I assume past receivables are eventually written off as uncollectible.
Currently, we're keeping them open from 2021. That's 145,000. And at the moment, we would be able to safely collect this money. We will definitely give it a try to collect everything, but I do not expect we can actually collect the full amount. Until as long as needed. We will probably apply the 100 in the closing procedure, so that would be about 120 days after we invoice them, and then they would be written off.
So this is details we have not discussed with our auditors anymore because we're focusing on ways to collect them, but keeping them there for more than 3 to 5 years, I would find unreasonable.
We have a second question from a remote participant. Daniel Zedler from Deloitte asks, what is the rationale for the entity in Dubai? Are there plans to transfer assets to the Middle East? Apologies if this has been mentioned and I missed it.
Well, the intent of the Dubai legal entity is to further professionalize the current presence we have in Dubai. There is no plan to transfer any major assets to the Dubai legal entity.
If I can elaborate a bit on that, we already have 4 staff members in Dubai, so they will continue their employment with RIPE NCC in this entity. Now, having a separate legal entity in Dubai opens up for using Dubai financial transactions for receiving money and paying bills, which may make it easier for us to do business in the region and surrounding regions. Now, we haven't made firm plans yet for what activities we will put there. We do have several scenarios sketched out, but this further depends on tax advice, both in the Emirates and in the Netherlands, and what banks and financial institutions in Dubai can offer that the Dutch ones can't offer. And since all banks are part of the same international banking systems and are subject to the same risk assessments when it comes to ultra high risk countries, there are no quick fixes here, but we hope that having a separate legal entity, which is the usual way of setting up subsidiaries in other countries rather than just registering a branch office, will make us more robust in the future.
Well, you had on one of your slides, you mentioned an unqualified statement by EY. As many of our members don't speak English as their first language, could you please clarify that does not mean they are totally clueless?
Unqualified means basically no comments, or they didn't find any material errors that needed to be corrected. So that's a very positive result. That's the result you want when you get audited. Thank you.
Peter Husser from Zayo. Before I ask the question, I want to be very, very clear so I don't get misunderstood. I am not at all asking about existing members in ultra high risk countries. I fully support the delayment of fees for them. There's no issues there at all. However, it was mentioned in the financial report that a significant number of new members were coming from ultra high risk countries where we cannot accept fees. However, the membership application process does clearly state once we receive payment and the signed service agreement, then we will activate your Lear account. And I was wondering if you could talk about how that went.
That is, yeah. How that went. Well, I mean, we have to treat all our members equally. And at this point in time, it's the RIPE NCC that cannot receive the payments from Iran. So with that in the back of our minds, we felt that we should treat them as equals.
Were they new members or the existing members opening multiple Lear accounts?
I do not have the exact details, but looking at the numbers, there will be multiple Lear accounts in there.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Pavel Odintsov. I'm a current candidate for RIPE NCC board. I have generic feedback about structure of financial report 2023. So, and when we vote and agree on activities in budget, it's split into key activities of RIPE NCC: community building, RIPE Atlas, C services. And for each of the activities, we have budget allocated. But sadly, when we see a report from financial report 23, it's merged together. We cannot say for sure, for example, we allocated 1.4 million for Atlas and how much we actually spent and how much we spent on Samsung. Because in budget, I do understand we need to keep it quite abstract and without going into details, how much we spend for people and how much we spend for side expenses, for example, for AWS, for servers, for allocation. And in financial report, it would be great to have this information in the same format as we had it in budget.
I just comment to that just as a reference in the annual report on the very last page, also shown in Hans-Peter's presentation. We do disclose the financial numbers according to budget based on activity.
Okay, it's very good. Thank you for it. And I have one more proposal. Unfortunately, I didn't find any information in financial report about main suppliers for RIPE NCC who actually get paid with members' money for same activity. For example, again, collocation, maybe some office activities. I think it would be great and very beneficial for sake of transparency to have this information transparent, maybe with some abstract numbers, maybe with some percentage. And second thing, what I personally would love to propose, to engage more members to become vendors and suppliers for RIPE NCC, because we all provide lots of services. And I think it would be great and fair in many cases to allow members to participate in process how RIPE NCC selects their potential suppliers. And if we can find speciality and skill and some service we can provide from members, it would be great.
Okay, I don't necessarily have a direct reaction to that. I do think we need to be very careful in disclosing too much information of all our suppliers, as that would put our position to negotiate good prices at risk. And I also think, well, I'm pretty sure that a lot of suppliers have a non-disclosed agreement in their contract.
Maybe then we can adjust policy to prohibit this kind of agreements, because again, we are here for transparency.
Yeah,
so if I can add to that, I did touch on that in my previous presentation. And a couple of years back, we had requests for more transparency in suppliers, and we did report on the top suppliers, or at least the categories of suppliers. But we have not done an extensive survey of which contracts are actually confidential or not. And as was said here, for some suppliers, we do get special conditions, but they are confidential. So with those, if I were to disclose them, I would lose the 20, 30, or 50% discount that I got. So yes, I understand your desire for more transparency there, but so far I have not found a good way to do that without losing money in the negotiations. When it comes to public tenders, that is a way to do purchasing. We're not doing that as a general rule. We have a regular purchasing process where we have a requirement to evaluate at least 3 vendors and internal checks and balances. I have worked in a company before that provided tools for public tenders, and doing that professionally and openly is a very different way of doing purchasing. And I fear that most of the smaller members would not be able to bid on those anyway. And the negotiations and the framework around that would actually add quite a lot of work. So I like the idea ideally, but I'm afraid it's going to be difficult to scale. We have done it on some cases in the past on really large selections, but I don't have a good solution for that short term. But it's clearly something that we'll discuss with the board and look into.
Thank you for explanation.
Hello, my name is Sergey Masaidov, NetArt Group. Could you move 4 slides back on the forecast table? Yes. The last column, the amount of LIRs is forecasted to 20K members. This even not corresponds with the slide you made before, because the previous column is 21,436 members. So that's the number of LIRs, but the very last number is the number of unique LIRs. Why you are forecasting this way?
My forecast is based on the active LERs I expect by year end 2024. So what I'm saying here is that currently at the end of April, we had 21,436 active LER counts. And I expect due to the consolidation of multiple LER counts, this to go down to 20,000.
You expect the 1,400 LERs will be closed
So
in upcoming 8 months?
I can add to that. I have instructed my CFO to, rather than do his best guessing, to do a worst case budgeting on that. And this is because we are seeing a high risk of income not being collected from ultra high risk countries. And after we discussed, we agreed then that we would do worst case budgeting on LIRs and budget with a number of members rather than an LIR. So there is an upside in the forecast here, but that's we have purposely kept the forecast on the low side in order to handle the risk of not being able to collect money as well.
Thank you for the details.
Hello, my name is Maxim Tuliev, NetAssist. I have a question about Ukrainian LRs. Currently, Ukrainian LRs can't pay legally to RIPE NCC bills because of regulation of National Bank of Ukraine. That's why a lot of LRs now in doubt what to do. Do you think about open subsidiary in Ukraine with Ukrainian bank account to gather this money, and this will let these companies to pay legally to RIPE NCC? Thank you.
First of all, an advice to all Ukrainian LERs, we have the individual payment extension available on our website. So please make sure you request that so we can, whoever needs it.
Yes, but the problem still persists.
Yeah, I fully understand. In all honesty, we have not considered opening a subsidiary in the Ukraine. I'm happy to discuss this with the board, but as far as this moment, there are no plans to do so.
Understand. Thank you.
Excuse me, my name is Elena Kushnir. I want to apply because I'm LIR from Ukraine, and my company paid through the bank account in Ukraine. We have no any problem. We have problem with ISP providers who just work on the 0 kilometer, and they of course survive. But we have no any problems with the bank account. Thank you.
So Tobias Hübich, Max Planck Institute for Informatics, but speaking for myself, I would like to address a point of encouraging more membership to provide services and tendering towards them. In my personal opinion, the independence of the RIPE NCC is one of its greatest assets. And I think when making such proposals, it's also important to consider that having competent staff, as we do, that takes care of these things instead of tendering them out to the membership, potentially creating liabilities or conflicts of interest, might be a risk that has to be considered, which is why I personally would prefer the RIPE NCC to have these capabilities in-house.
Thank you.
We have a comment from Mikili Nalen from Black Knight. Mikili comments, as a comment regarding suppliers' names being published, there's a lot of commercially sensitive information there, so that would be a really bad idea.
Thank you. Dimitro?
Right. Hi, Dmitro Kochmanyuk. Olena Kushner already said what I was about to say, VLAR from Ukraine. There was a restriction for the payments to foreign companies in Ukraine. It was just lifted recently, and say our company was able to pay differently. You know, you can pay as a person and then get the company pay you back. But I want to refer to the early comment about for subsidiary. Well, I strongly think that opening a RIPE subsidiary company in Ukraine right now would be pretty difficult. I would say we may consider as a membership to open bank accounts for RIPE NCC as a non-resident company in maybe one or two strategically chosen jurisdictions to facilitate members in non-EU economic zone to be able to pay with maybe less local regulatory oversight and maybe also lower banking transaction costs. I'm not saying to do this as a measure to avoid EU-based sanctions, but rather, let's say, make it a economic zone local payment. So, for example, a Ukrainian bank account for the RIPE NCC company may be pretty viable versus a Ukrainian company similar to Dubai would probably be much harder and costly and, let's say, dangerous to maintain for obvious reasons. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? No? Oh.
Hello, it's Pavel Agentsov, and I'm active candidate for RIPE NCC board. So my question is, I would like to thank you that you published structure of investment portfolio of 10 million euro, where our emergency fund kept, but would be great to understand more in what companies it invested, because, or at least have ESG rating for such funds. By ESG, I mean how sustainable companies who actually issue those bonds are in what industries they operate. Because I believe some of the members, they may have concerns about some particular industries. They may not want to see their money invested in those industries. And having transparency about what kind of companies, or if companies are not here, just having explanation, what is the investment strategy, for example, excluding companies in some fields, would be great for transparency. Thank you.
I would like to say the team makes investment decisions based on ESG. So if there's the same option, they will always choose for one with the higher ESG rating. Also, one of the characteristics of the Treasury Statute is to not invest in individual companies, because we don't want to run the risk that, for whatever reason, we have an investment in a member. So they're all general funds and governments.
Thank you for explanation, but still, even for general funds, they have their own rules which cover what kind of industries they operate, and some funds may be excluded in case of conflict. And at least, again, we want to understand more about what kind of those companies, what kind of industries included.
I'm happy to discuss with the investment partner what can be disclosed, but of course, they also have their limitation on how much of the strategy and investment mix they can.
Yes, of course, I understand concerns, and it would be great to have information, as much as possible information, without violating confidentiality.
All right. Oh.
We have another comment from an online participant. Serbulov Dmitry says, friends, all the time you say that if we make a flat scale for resources, then you are afraid of missing most of the receipts. But I have not once heard your opinion about the split payment scheme. We can collect about 60% of the budget in equal payments and another 60 to 70% with a reserve of 20 to 30% of the budget for resources. If these payments do not arrive, we will not lose anything, but the problem with IPv4 will begin to be solved.
So just to reiterate it, just to understand the question, my opinion is specifically asked for charging scheme.
I think we will say thank you for that comment, and the charging scheme is on the agenda later on.
Okay, that's what I'll say.
Hello, everyone. Where's the clicker? There. My name is Athena Fragouli. I'm the Chief Legal Officer of the RIPE NCC. And I'm here to try to explain a legal concept to the General Meeting about this, discharging of RIPE NCC Executive Board, which you are requested to vote on in the resolution number 2. I'll try to explain what it means actually in practice. This is something we hear a lot, something people don't necessarily grasp. So before I do so, I'd like to give some background information that have to do with the duties of the Executive Board. The duties of the Executive Board arise from the Dutch law, from RIPE NCC Articles of Association, from internal procedures and policies that regulate their work internally, and principles of corporate good faith. All these duties must be performed properly, which means they must be performed for the best benefit of the RIPE NCC. If the Executive Board does not perform these duties properly, they're liable. Now, a very good question one may ask. What is liability? What does it mean, liability? Liability means being legally responsible for damages. So if someone has damages because the Executive Board did not perform their duties properly, the Executive Board is responsible. There are two types of liability, the internal liability and the external liability. Internal liability is a liability towards the association as a whole. So if because of mismanagement or actions of the Executive Board, the association as a whole, not individual members, the association as a whole has damages. The external liability is the liability for actions that are caused, that damage individuals, that are caused by the Executive Board and damage individuals, including members, individual members. I would like to clarify this. There is not personal liability of Executive Board members with their personal fortune. We're talking about the Executive Board acting on behalf of the legal entity, and therefore the capital of the legal entity of the association is at stake, not personal fortune of board members. Of course, there are exceptions in case of purposefully abusive behavior of individual members, gross negligence, and so on. But these are really exemptions. Also, when we talk about the liability of the Executive Board, we're talking about joint liability of all the Executive Board members during their term, not before, not after. And of course, the Executive Board can be discharged by a General Meeting resolution, which is now we're coming to the subject of this presentation. What is discharging of the Executive Board? Discharging means releasing the Executive Board from being legally responsible for damages. And we're talking about internal liability here, so only about damages of the association as a whole, not individual members or externals. And only regarding activities that are clearly described in the annual and financial report. And again, only about the executive board as a whole, not individual members. To clarify, discharge does not include any actions taken outside of the scope of their duties, any actions that are not clearly stated in the annual and financial report, any liability towards external parties, including members, and even if the executive board is discharged by this GM, they might still be liable for gross negligence or willful misconduct or absence of good faith in the execution of their duties. So this resolution, if this resolution, number 2, is adopted, that means that the executive board is not legally responsible for damages towards the RIPE NCC as a whole, caused by actions that are clearly stated in the annual financial report 2023 and nothing else. And in short, in practice, in plain English, not legal language, that means that by discharging the board, you say that their actions, as described in the annual and financial report, have not damaged the association. I hope I clarified this. Thank you very much. Questions?
Peter Hessler, thank you very much. This was very informative. Even though I'm a native English speaker, I thought I knew what discharge meant, and I learned quite a bit from this. If I could recommend that these slides or presentation gets turned into something that can be more permanently available for us to look at for future executive boards when we have to answer the question, should we discharge the executive board for their actions in next year, 5 years, 10 years from now? I think that would be fantastic to have it in our pocket as a available resource.
Thank you. Thank you.
No.
We have different sizes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raymond Jet, and I'm your treasurer. And I'm the first time here on stage in the general meeting. I'm a bit nervous, I have to admit that. The charging scheme. Some opening remarks. I want to really recognize that there's been a lot of discussion on the members discussing mailing list, with many opinions expressed. And there's a very strong push for financial differentiation between the members. As the RIPE NCC, we feel strongly that this differentiation must remain within reason. And there's also a strong push for further cost savings. As the RIPE NCC, we're committed to cut costs and increase efficiency where possible. The purpose of the charging scheme is to ensure stable and sufficient income, and we have the redistribution vote, which acts as a safeguard which ensures any excess funds can be returned to the members, or if the members want, we can put them back into the reserves. The activity plan and budget defines the cost budgeted for the activities. So a quick recap on the executive board meeting we had on the 6th of May. It was an extra board meeting, wasn't known really long before that. The short-term stability is essential for the RIPE NCC and its community. Proposing a charging scheme that ensures a loss of 5.1 million is not really good governance. And that is a bit of the liability Athena was just speaking about. Proposals that could possibly put the RIPE NCC and the consensus model, we have built together the risk that therefore not been put forward. The board and the managing director will continue to work to improve efficiency and cost savings, And we have already done quite a lot of those. A structural review of the RIPE NCC will take place, and this has already been started on Tuesday by fellow board member Remco, who has started a discussion model, and we are starting up these what are they called? Discussion groups where we can discuss about what the model would be and what the funding system should be. Proposals that could possibly put the RIPE NCC and the consensus model. Already done, sorry, I have to read a lot of things here. The board and managing director will continue again to improve efficiency, like I already told. And the structural review focuses on is a stable future for the RIPE NCC with a funding model that has the support of its membership. The executive board recognizes the concerns of the members, all members, and commits the addressing these for the long term. So the current focus is only on the short-term stability. In order to provide some insight in the financials, this is a model where I've added the 5-year forecast based on the current charging scheme. To start off, the assumptions made in the forecast: 20,000 contributing Lear accounts equal to the expected number of members. Cost budget and activities remain unchanged and are based on the latest approved activity plan and budget. Staff costs increase yearly with 5% due to local laws and regulations, and to ensure that we stay in line with the market. There's a huge competitive thing going on everywhere. All other costs increase yearly with around 2% based on inflation. Some years the inflation is a lot higher, sometimes it's a bit lower. Any further cost cutting or efficiency has not been included, but this is not to say that we will stop working on this. In overall, in 2028, if we would keep the same charging scheme, we would fully be out of our reserves. In a 5-year forecast proposed on the charging schemes we now provide, with the same scenarios and the same assumptions, but with option A selected, the reason for this is quite simple. All the 3 models will actually have the same number of income, with forecasts showing the short-term stability for 25 and 26, which provides time in consultation with the membership to work a way forward for the longer term. And to be absolutely clear, this forecast does not include any further cost savings, but we will of course keep working on these and save costs wherever we can. The redistribution mechanism. This mechanism acts as a safeguard for the members. If we have any excess or shortage, the funds will be subject to a distribution vote by the General Meeting. Ensuring the control of what they will do within excess funds remains with the members. Please bear in mind that the fund can also be negative, so be careful. I also took the liberty to add the history of our redistributions over the last 8 financial years. We've redistributed around 60 million to the membership. But for example, in 2019, we've added 8.2 million to the reserves. That was decided by the members. The result for this all is for the short-term stability, the charging scheme vote will be proceeded as proposed. For the longer term, with the short-term stability in place. We can, in consultation with our membership, review our charging scheme model for the long-term stability. So, the 3 charging scheme options. The current charging scheme cannot be voted on. Let me make that very clear. Model A with an increase of 22.58%, to a fee of 1,900. It ensures the projected income of 41.1 million euros. Model B increases the Lear fee with almost 21% to 1,875. And independent resources, 75 euro, ensures that also the same projected income of 41.1 million. Model C has an increase with fees for 16.63% to 1,800 euros, an independent resource for 75 euros, and an ASN fee of 50 euros. This ensures the same income, 41.1 million. The steep increases are required to cover the effect of inflation. We also didn't increase our costs last year, so those costs are also involved here. And the decreasing number of Lear accounts due to multiple Lear consolidations. All the three models are calculated with around 20,000 Lear members, which is equal to the number of members at this point in time, and our expectation for the future. That brings me to the last resolution, which is number 3. You can vote for 3 options in preference. Option B and C have a lower Lear fee, and they do this by charging for other independent resources and for ASN fees. All 3 models are projected to have an income of 41.1 million, as said before. And to be very clear, the acceptance of one of the 3 models does not define the activity plan and budget for 2025 or beyond. It ensures we have sufficient funds to execute, and the discussion on the activity plan and budget will define the costs for the 2025 budget. And we can have done so in the past, provide a budget including a positive result. And with that, I'll open the floor for questions.
We have a question from Brian Story from Gamma. Given the purpose of the clearinghouse cash and the need for short-term stability cash raising, why is the clearinghouse cash not used? In addition, what is considered as the minimum cash reserve, and what are the expected future target minimums?
As a board, we have the responsibility to be liable. And I don't want to use, and we don't want to use as a board, the reserves for a predicted, known on forehand, minimum negative income. Therefore, Sander.
Since me. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Lou.
Yeah, sorry. Lu He from Larus Limited. Well, I think this discussion has been going on almost every year in the past 2 years, and this time we end up with a solution reached to the same number. We don't have a solution like last time, which we don't pay. Well, I think that's inevitable because we haven't voted in an activity plan. So my question to your board member here is, I understand, and it's being presented in every RIPE meeting, and a couple of years ago, the financial officer has said that because of potential decline of member numbers, we will have a financial problem down the road. It has been warned. Well, I appreciate that. But should we put that in a resolution, say, okay, this is the current activity, this is the mandated cost. Do your member want it or not?
And what will you do if you don't want it?
Well, then propose a solution to it, an alternative solution.
What are you going to do with the budget and activity if it's not accepted?
Well, if then one activity is not accepted, you can.
We don't have a budget and then we don't have activities? Or what are you going to do with them?
Sorry.
If the budget and activities would not be accepted in a yes/no vote, what will we do with the budget and activity then?
Well, we separate all the activity. Of course, the core activity is not optional. The registration services and RPKI is not optional, but RIPE Atlas and RIPE status are not. You can propose a solution like what you're proposing, option 1, A, B, C, D. Here, number 1 is keep as the current states. Number 2, separate as different entities. And there are different ideas that can be discussed and distributed to memberships that you can propose option as you're exactly doing here.
You're right in a way that we have been there has been a lot of discussion on this. And we've also every year asked for input on the activity plan and budget. But there has been extremely little input on the budget and activity plan, except for we have to cut, but they haven't told us what they should cut.
Exactly. And number one, we should start discussion after this vote now in the mailing list, and I will be vocal about it. And number two, you guys should collect feedback in the mailing list from the members, and according to those feedbacks, and put up option A, B, C, D up for a vote.
You'll be sure that everybody will be happy on that?
Well, if they're not happy, they can keep the current model. There will be an option say, well, we do exactly what we've been doing for the past 10 years. That could be one of the options.
Like exactly. We're not happy either with that. So well, what we really would like,
it doesn't matter if they're happy or not. You give us an option.
Feedback on what the people want in the activity plan and budget.
Well,
before we can set up any type of voting.
Well, we as a member.
What are we going to vote about if we don't know what the people want?
Well, we're going to vote about for each one of the activities. Do we want to keep them or we don't want to keep them? It's simple. So question.
Many of these activities are connected with each other.
They are not. So they are independent activity. You can put up a
not.
Ray, may I add? So I have two things to add here. I tried in my previous presentation to share how we're thinking about these activities as linked. So I understand you disagree with that, but this is part of our current thinking and strategy on that. Looking back in the archives, back in 2003-04, the Articles of Association was changed. So the power to approve the activity plan and budget was moved from the general meeting, the membership, to the board, because the organization grew and became so big that it needed proper governance by a board that's accountable and has a fiduciary duty. When we have an organization of 180 to 190 staff members and have responsibilities like we have, we cannot do the activity plan or the budget on a popular vote every year. Now, when that is said, from the mailing, it is clear that we need to engage better with the members. We did do a membership survey last year. 60% of the members said that the measurement services is a service that is important to them. So we do have numbers that says that, you know, we should actually continue with this. That's the way I read that survey. And this is part of our current strategic plan. There was a BOF yesterday where we would look at the future of the RIPE NCC and the governance. Remco then shared the current strategy, and what I heard in the room was that was overwhelming support for the high-level strategic goal. Now we need to take that further and look into how we operationalize that for the long term. If we want to change things, sure. We will publish a draft activity plan and report ahead of the next general meeting, and I hope that we will get more and significant input to that now. Bear in mind that if the members or the board decides to shut down a service that's run by 10 staff members, it will take a year or two to make that change, right? Because this is a significant change that involves negotiating with staff or selling off that business or something like that. Selling a business where it's publicly known that the company don't want it anymore, it's terribly difficult. We have an example from a sister organization, ISOC, that decided to, give away their manners program. They actually paid somebody 5 million to take it over. I'm not sure that's a good business deal. So, you know, there are solutions to this, but let's not rush into that. And I don't think voting on individual activity lines is the solution here, but more engagement with the members before the next year's GM, definitely.
Well, let me just finish. It's just my suggestion as one of your members that I want to vote on each of the activity that maybe once every 5 years. So the activity that we as a member get voted on. And if members still not be happy about it, then that's a problem of they're not exercising the rights of voting, because you give us the chance to vote it down. And if we voted to keep it, that's our problem. You give us a chance. And you as representative should do that. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you.
Peter Hessler. I do believe that the board and RIPE NCC has been encouraging members to bring our feedback, and that if there were services that we were unhappy with, we would bring that to you. And I feel that us as members and us as members, as both members of the RIPE NCC and just general community participants, we have been neglecting our responsibility of bringing a lot of information to the board and to the community and to the working groups, etc. in general. So I do want to encourage us to use our ability to bring this information to those who need it.
Thank you. Erik Bart. I would like to express that I do not want to vote on every single item on the activity plan. Providing feedback, talk to the board, yes, yes, yes. I have the feeling from my personal experience that there's always a board member or an email address that's willing to listen to us as members, but I do not, and I want to stress that, do not want to have 27 or more votes during a GM on each and every item on the activity plan. That's a single member that's pushing this up, and I do not want to address to go there. Thank you, Erik.
Hi, Sander Stefan speaking for myself. I want to thank the board for putting effort into talking more with the community and listening better and putting together a comprehensive activity plan that nicely fits together. I also, that's actually the reason why I stood up. Last year, there was a vote that both the amount and the style of charging were both included in one vote. I really appreciate this year that it's just like, okay, we have these activities, therefore we need this amount of money, and we just talk about how that is charged. And I really appreciate that it's now just a separate vote. And yeah, let's talk about the budget for the activity plan.
Thank you.
Can I remind all the participants here that this is a general meeting and you're here representing your members, so it would be really beneficial for the records that you state which members you speak on behalf of. Thank you.
Mikili Nalen of Black Knight comments, while I think engagement could be better, it's a two-way street. Members need to raise their concerns and provide their input. However, as a member, we do not want to micromanage the NCC. I strongly oppose any suggestion that we vote on individual elements of the activity plan.
Thank you.
Oh, hi, Dmitry Kochmanik again, and yeah, I'm representing UA.Housemaster. While I would agree with you that we shouldn't have 36 resolutions per activity plan, and also, yes, these are interconnected things. There is a dependency graph for us geeks. And I would just point out that RER does have this community feedback when it's basically a Google or whatever, instrument we use, or like a doodle poll, right? When we just say, I like this thing more, and they don't call it voting, they call it prioritization. So meaning that you say, this is more important. Now, I would also like to point out that the EB members do have a fiduciary duty, and these are people who bear responsibility. Therefore, these people should bear the decisive power. Maybe we should have no board and have a anarchy-driven, decision process when every member is responsible. But we are not there yet, are we? So I would like to not micromanage my board, yet I would like the board to have a feedback loop. So maybe a more formal process when each member will be reminded what they are asking about, yet they're not deciding that. These are two different things. But
Yes.
Thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you. And Remco has already started this kind of a process, and we're continuing doing that. So thank you.
So Brian Nisbet, HGANet. I think what I'm hearing is this entire general meeting could just be a slide out. But this is a bit of a +1, but I want to acknowledge the fact that obviously things have changed a lot in the last month, and there was a substantial amount of, in many ways, understandable commentary, especially on Mem Discuss. And I feel
that I certainly, and I know other people, didn't engage in those email conversations. So I want to take the opportunity now to stand up and go on the record as saying that no, we don't want to micromanage the board. We elect the board to do a thing, and that's what other people have said. That there is an understanding that the world is more expensive than it was yesterday. This is a thing, and no organization that I'm part of would be in a situation where each individual members, and all of them are, this is the biggest one, that we're part of, would have that level of input or want it. So I think it's important. I think that it's been very clear what's been presented here. And I understand that economies are different across the service region. But yeah, to say out loud, I think this is the right plan, and where you're going is the right plan. And it's good to hear what more is going to be happening. And absolutely, we can't just spend money forever. But I never got the feeling that the NCC was doing that. And I think one of the things that was a lack of feedback is that it's very easy when you like what's happening to just go, cool, it's happening. I don't need to explicitly say this, or I'll say this in the vote for the charging scheme or the vote for the board members. So yeah, this is me saying I like what we're doing, and it's a good thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
So Tobias Hiewig, speaking for myself as a personal member, something that has been said already is that we do not want to vote on every individual resolution and activity. I would like to remind the room that there's also the aspect of that we might not be getting anything if we want to do that. Think of something very, very uncontroversial, like, for example, getting free ice cream. If we would only get the free ice cream once we reached full consensus, nobody would get ice cream. With a certain size, we need to delegate these decisions, so decisions are made and activities actually take place. So it's not only a matter of we do not want to vote on every individual little thing, it's also if we do that, if we try to do that, we won't get individual little things, we will get nothing.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia Revström, IT Security Solutions. So last May I spoke for way too long about ASN fees, so I will ignore that part now. And I just want to mostly just thank the Executive Board for having doing a really good job this time, and only presenting charging scheme options which they expect will break even or slightly plus, and it won't result in a deficit, because I really did not like that fact last year. So I thank you for that.
Thank you.
We have 2 comments online. Murat Terzioglu from Prebits says, the cause of the members' proposal this year, where about from 700 people voted, was a reaction of many members because we received 3 different but actually very similar proposals. This was not okay for many members not to have different models. There's another comment from Serbulov Dimitri. Despite I also don't like the payment itself and the scheme ABC, but now it's too late to talk about changing the scheme. These are the rules of our NCC organization. An increase in costs is now inevitable. I am sure that the problems will be even more difficult to discuss at the next meetings. It's good that we at least started moving to Dubai. The situation that has developed is primarily our fault, brackets NCC members, if we've been ignoring meetings for years and votings.
Yes, I'll comment on the first comment. We have indeed 3 different charging schemes with 3 different options. One of them has payment for AS numbers in it. We're the only rear who does not do that. All the others do. Then we have an option where you pay for AS numbers and for independent resources. And then you have one where you pay only the membership fee. So the intention of having a charging scheme is to get us the income needed for the budget and activity plan. And that's why they all have about the same income in total, because we're not trying to make money here. We're trying to have enough funding for the things we're doing. The second comment is a bit more complicated because I think that the assumption that we're moving things to Dubai is not really decided. So at this point, I cannot even comment on that because there is no such plan. Any more questions? Thank you.
So the next agenda item was requested by Max Tulev, supported by 700 members. I don't know, Max, if you want to say something else, or this discussion covered everything you wanted to hear, or the floor is yours, obviously. And
some comments.
okay, so you think the discussion was sufficient on this point? And
so as you can see, more than 700 of members say that the billing charging scheme not fit for them. I see that in 2018 the budget was 26 millions. Now it's we are talking about 40 millions. So it's almost twice, while the core services still the same. The core service is maintaining the RIPE database, of course. So people are afraid we need to cut some budget and fit in this budget we have. And my question is how to vote, how to make the previous charging scheme to be extended to next year. As I understand, it's too late to do these changes right now, this meeting, but probably executive board can do this next meeting in autumn. So we will manage to do this vote before the next year starts. So I kindly ask executive board to find some way to vote for this proposal, maybe next meeting, not this meeting. Thank you very much.
thank you very much. I absolutely understand the will of 700 people, and we will respect it. And I told you we will try to address all the issues that were raised, because they were of two kinds. One is the general unsatisfaction with the size of the budget, and that's a fair comment, which I'm sure will be kept for the activity plan and budget discussion. And second was also the distribution of the fees. So there are two different issues, and especially the second one, it's something we would like to address with the task force, where people who initiated and were active in this part, or who really kind of work on this proposal were active. They will have a proportional part in the task force. So then we can discuss. But I can tell you immediately here that we will definitely not propose the charging scheme from the last year, because that's what we explained why we cannot do. Any other questions or comments on this point?
Or microphone. All right, tall Dutch people. Erik Pijs, HB Internet. Yeah, we've had some presentations today at Address Policy and yesterday from James. Also about the AS numbers and AS numbers being for free, being used. There's a huge amount of numbers that are being used for personal training, research, stuff like that. And the NCC, specifically the registration desk, has issues reclaiming unused AS numbers. As a member of Address Policy and also as a co-chair for Address Policy, have seen the request for methods in the charging scheme in the past for a charge for AS numbers. I'm glad it's in the charging scheme options. It's option C. And I would definitely advocate for the option to at least see how this will end up and have a small upkeep charge for the AS numbers and provide the NCC with at least some way to reclaim them, or at least provide some insight on that. So I think the charging scheme as we have it, it's all the same budget at the bottom of the line, but it will help us, to see if this will actually help this operational problem. That's what I wanted to say. So I would say go for C.
Thank you very much. The input from the chair of this policy working group is of course important for the members, so it was definitely heard. Thank you very much. Please.
Thank you. My name is Olena Kushnir. I'm from Ukraine. Speak for myself. I want to demonstrate special for you one voice. Sorry if I scared you. Sorry. I just want to remind for all of you that the war going on in Ukraine and in the heart of Europe. And this sound means that missile attacks on Ukrainians has started. And it means, and when they ended, we should go to renovate our networks again, and again. We work hard under very difficult conditions. We do all the best to provide connection of the Ukrainian segment of internet to the world. We appreciate the RIPE NCC provide postponement of payment for Ukrainians ISPs, and we're trying to pay on time. But of course, for the ISP providers who continue working on the frontline territories, it is really very important. They have less of money and they just survive. And I hope you make the same decision next year. Regarding charges, changes in charging scheme, I am sure this should not be a fast decision. Of course, Ukrainian community can join to discussion, but of course we have a little bit other goals now. I'm sorry. And also I want to thank for everybody who continue to help to continue to take part in Keep Ukrainian Connected project and support Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Olena.
Thank you. I'm János Zsakó from EST Nonprofit Kft. Hungary. I would like to remind the membership that we had, sorry, probably it's better now. Sorry. So I would like to remind the membership that we were asked by the members a couple of years ago to have the charging scheme sorted out in the May AGM in order for the members to be able to prepare themselves for the next year. And therefore, I think it wouldn't be too wise to have a new charging scheme voted on in October, end of October or November. So I would recommend to keep it decided this GM. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Sergey Mesaedov, NetArt Group, RIPE NCC member. I would like to ask a question to the board, whether board is prepared or the board and the senior management have the plan when the membership will clearly express the opinion that the budget should be cut. Like first to 30 million euro or maybe to 20 million euro, whether the board has this idea in mind.
Well, the board already committed to some cuts in the budget, and I think that was clearly presented by Hans Peter. Of course, if you will say 20 million, that's not realistic, especially not for the next year. So no, I can't commit because that's something I would never do. It's impossible. But of course, we will absolutely respect the will of the members, and especially if they tell us and lead us which activities should be closed or maybe the quality should be, lowered, then I think that's the way we can discuss. But radical change in an organization where the more 60% of the budget are salaries, that's just impossible. So no, I cannot do impossible. I'm not Chuck Norris, I apologize, but definitely we will respect the kind of guidance from the membership.
Thank you.
Dmytro was next.
Oh yeah, sorry, just a quick comment. I like the new website design, and I just want to propose that we would link the supporting documents into the agenda of the general meeting, because it's kind of hard to find into the menu / supporting documents / charging scheme. I know it's simple, but I just like to mention that so the members who are like, what exactly I'm voting for can have it linked. I guess that's all I want to say. And I do support the Olena Kushnir's comments, but well, that's because I'm from Ukraine too. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and we took that note. We will fix it for future. Pavel?
Pavel Odintsov, affiliated with FastNetMon. As one of the charging schemes, the one thing which is quite missing, we try to charge on number of ISN numbers. We try to use number of PI resources. We try to introduce different schemes which change as company grows. But one of the things which is, I would say, missing, and unfortunately we cannot action and move forward with this scheme to understand it more, just to understand how much it actually costs for RIPE NCC to do every single activity regarding every LR account. How much it costs to do transfer, how much it costs to do onboarding. We got some numbers from Hans, and I would like to thank you for it, about extraordinarily expensive way how we onboard PI resources. And it's clearly obvious that we need to increase prices, but if we can get more information and basically put price tag to many activities we have, like if you are creating more tickets, you may have pay for it. Just to understand how much on general every single member costs us, and if we can find outliers, we may find the way how it can be introduced in the charging scheme.
Thank you very much. Let me just explain you that the board always tried to create or to construct the charging scheme on some predictable things. If we will charge per transaction and then the number of transaction, became really low, then we can go into trouble. So that's why we always try to stick the charging scheme with something which is predictable, which ensures the financial stability of the association. But I understand your point, and we will try to be as transparent as possible. I don't know how quickly we can, I don't think we can say that every ticket costs something, but we will try to find some more numbers on that. Sure, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Tom Vandenberg from Upstream comments, maybe members can participate in RIPE projects on a voluntary basis. In this way, they feel more involved, and we can even reduce costs as they will not be paid as internal employees or external consultants. This can be a win-win situation for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. Sure, that's an option, but the experience we have from different organizations is that at the beginning you have a lot of volunteers, but at the end of the day, everyone needs to pay her or his mortgage, so the activity lowers during the time. So I don't think we can build a professional organization just based on the volunteers. We have great volunteers here which run the RIPE meeting for us, and we are very thankful to them, but I don't think running the organization itself would be a way forward. But thank you for the comment.
If I may add to that, we do use open source software in several areas of the operations, for instance, for running K-Route. We do, however, not think that that means that that software is free. So we do pay for a support contract with the companies that develop this software to make sure that the programmers that actually write the code gets money for food and a house to live in, and so on. So I love volunteer work. I work in several volunteer organizations myself, folk dancing, folk music, and stuff like that. But I also recognize that, you know, when young professionals come in such organizations today, they want to make a living of this. And that's why I pay my staff to do the job, right? And replacing staff with volunteers, sure, we can do that in some ways. You can participate in the working groups, you can give input, you can come with ideas, you can be working group chairs in the RIPE community, you can be part of the program committee here at the RIPE meetings at MINOG, SCE, CAPIF. There is a lot of volunteer work that can be done that really helps us. You know, when I started in this community, the community members did scribes for the working groups. I was put in to make the minutes of the database working group at my first meeting. Today, RIPE NCC provides staff to do that, right? I mean, we welcome volunteers to come back and do more work. That would be great. The opportunities are here.
So Tobias Sievich, speaking as an individual member, I hear many of my fellow members arguing about going back to the old charging scheme, going back to an old budget of 20 million or 30 million, going back. And we earlier had Randy Bush say he would love to live in the 90s again and have the internet of the 90s, but acknowledging that that won't happen. Time is an arrow, and that arrow only goes one direction. And if you figure anything out to make it different, well, probably a Nobel Physics Nobel Prize committee is a better avenue for that than a RIPE meeting, because that won't happen. Time does not go backwards, and we have to deal with that. And repeating over and over and over again that we want to go it backwards won't make it so.
Thank you very much for the comment. I think that was a really nice final discussion point. So with that, I suggest to close this point and move in the agenda. The next point are election. I'm not mistaken, is it true? Hans, better help me, please. Yes, elections, I was right. First of all, thank all the candidates for their willingness to participate. Thank you very much. We had an open house where you members could ask them, and you asked, so it was an interesting to watch. And now we will see videos of every candidate, but before we do that, let me read the names of the candidate. So first is Osama Aldosari. I think he's here, so especially if you want to ask him something, you have still a chance. Thank you very much, Osama. Then we have Sandra Stefan, again, a well-known person in the first row here, so the same applies. Piotr Strzyzewski, current board member, is there. Thank you, Piotr, for the willingness to continue. Then we have Pavel Odintsov. Pavel is here, and he raised several questions during the GM, so I'm sure you noticed him. Then we have Artem Izbayenkov. Unfortunately, he couldn't travel here, so he is not here. I don't know if he's remote, but definitely he in his biography there are contact information, so you can contact him if you have any other questions. And last but not least is Alexei Volodin, who also couldn't be here with us. So with that, I think we can start the videos of the candidate, right? It's always helpful if we have engineers in the room.
Imagine if this were still VHS tapes.
Say that my first big exposure to the internet community was
So we had video, we have sound now together. That will be awesome.
Are we going to do this twice? Once with sound, once with video?
And I would say that my first big exposure to the internet community was in Africa in 2004. During that, I saw great generosity from people. I was moved. I saw people freely giving their time just to help me be a better engineer and learn. And this led me to embody those and other shared values that directly help grow the internet and its community. So one other example of that, those values, is that the internet is for everyone, which as an executive board member, I would take to also mean greater inclusivity is needed in engaging with the wider community and also with the youth to help encourage future leadership. I also believe that the efficiency of the NCC is essential to its sustainability. And that in turn plays a role in the stability of the greater internet. And surely this is something we all strive for. If you were going to ask me why me, I would have to say that I'm very well-rounded. So I have experience in the technical operations, in engineering, in government policy making, but also as a chief executive officer in a telecom operator. I'm currently a freelancer, so I have greater flexibility to support this executive board role. Additionally, I've been volunteering for 2 decades to the technical and internet communities, including MENOG and RIPE program committee. So I have a good grasp of the challenges people face in the overall community. And one last point I'd like to close with is that me being from the Middle East, which is a non-European part of the RIPE region, I can help add diversity, whether we're talking about in thought or culture, and be useful in helping the board understand the needs of the wider community.
Is it the end of it? Oh, thank you, Osama, for your kindness. We apologize for the technical glitch. Thank you.
So I have experience in technical operations, engineering, in government policy making, but also as a chief executive officer in a telecom operator. I'm currently a freelancer, so I have greater flexibility to support this executive board role. Additionally, I've been volunteering for 2 decades to the technical and internet communities, including MENOG and RIPE program committee. So I have a good grasp of the challenges people face in the overall community. And one last point I'd like to close with is that me being from the Middle East, which is a non-European part of the RIPE region, I can help add diversity, whether we're talking about in thought or culture, and be useful in helping the board understand the needs of the wider community.
Thank you very much again. We are lucky that we have
Dear colleagues and members of the RIPE community, my name is Artemis Bankov, and I am
It's slightly suboptimal today, but
They do try turning off and on again.
yeah. So we spoke about old times, and now we experience them. Um, Can we switch to the...
Andre.
Okay. I suggest to take. I suggest to take 5-minute break to solve the technical glitch, and then we will continue. We don't have a long agenda, so please don't move out, at least not far away. And once it will fix, we will reconvene. Give us 5 minutes, please. Great, technical colleagues probably solved the issue, so I will wait a few more seconds for others to again reconvene. We apologize for this break. I hope this is the last one, but you know, we all just work with technology, so it breaks sometimes. We are waiting for the smokers, right? Yeah. So again, please, if you can sit down, we will continue in a few seconds. No hurry. So you're here. So smokers are here. Yeah. So again, I apologize to Osama, but we heard his message and we can see his face, you know, in Natura, so that's probably okay. And we will continue with the other candidates. Thank you.
Dear colleagues and members of the RIPE community, my name is community. My name is Artemis Baimkov, and am honored to present my candidacy for the RIPE Executive Board. My journey has been one of innovation, leadership, and innovative commitment to advancing information security, managing finances, and running companies. In 2016, I founded ServicePipe, a company dedicated to preventing DDoS attack using cutting-edge solution. Over 6 years, I built ServicePipe into a major player in the market, effectively protecting our clients from cyber threats and setting new standards in the industry. In 2023, I took on the role of leading the strategy development of cybersecurity at Edge Center, formerly G-Code. Under my leadership, we developed advanced information protection strategy and successfully management a team of cybersecurity experts, positioned the company at the forefront of the field. Currently, as product director at the LLC Solar group of companies, I oversee the development and management of a product line of cloud service. My focus is on leveraging innovation ML-based solution to help our clients achieve their goals. This role has deepened my understanding of market needs and honed my skills in product and team management. Additionally, my work is a ACSO, Association of Chief Information Security Officers, has given me valuable insight into the challenge and opportunities in the field of information security. Collaborating with top professionals, I have contributed to shaping policy and best practice at enhance our collective security posture. My motivation for joining the RIPE Executive Board is driven by a clear vision and concrete goals. First, fair membership fees. I believe that membership fees should be based on the resource consumed by RIPs. Large RIPs should pay more than small RIPs holders. I propose conducting a detailed analysis to develop a fair fee system. Second, inclusivity. I am to eliminate language discrimination within the RIPE community, making it accessible to all language groups. This includes implementing multi-language platform and translating key documents. Third, community engagement. I plan to increase the number of active community members and overall LIVS membership by creating support programs, organizing events and webinars, and encouraging knowledge sharing. Number 4, IPv6 implementation. To ensure the resilience and security of our internet infrastructure, I propose using political tools to accelerate IPv6 adoption, along with training and technical support for companies. Number 5, security research and development. I intend to enhance RIPE's contribution to cybersecurity by international new research projects, partners, and related institutions, and creating a grant program for innovative projects. I am confident that my experience, passion, and vision will enable me to make significant contribution to the RIPE community. I humbly ask for your support that we work together to achieve our common goals. Thank you for attention.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I would like to introduce myself as a candidate to RIPE NCC board. During the course of my career, I was involved in multiple projects which had the goal to make internet better. I built analytics for one of the world's largest internet exchange points. I was in a team which built Cloudflare DNS. I co-founded cloud compute company and DDoS protection vendor. I truly believe that the most valuable asset of RIPE NCC is all of you, their members. All those dramatic improvements in the internet for the last 3 decades made possible only because of your experience and incredible amount of hard work. I would like to thank you for it. The only way RIPE NCC can overcome current and future challenges is by leveraging skills and knowledge of our members in all their activities. To do this efficiently, we need to cultivate a culture of total transparency about everything, including how RIPE NCC spends money, how it selects values, and how it prioritizes different projects. If you share my vision of transparent RIPE NCC, which activity reflects your goals, please support me with your vote. Thank you for your trust and for the opportunity to serve you.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Sander Stefan, and I would like to introduce myself as a candidate for the RIPE NCC Executive Board. I've been involved in the internet for a very long time. I helped start my first ISP back in 1995. I studied computer science, did everything from routing to security to software development, and I've been part of this RIPE community for a very long time. This is my 40th RIPE meeting, so that means that I have been part of this community for 20 years now. I would like to join the RIPE NCC Executive Board to make sure this community spirit is represented in the board. Currently, the board has been focusing a lot on all the legal and financial aspects of the RIPE NCC, and this has been very important because the world around us has been changing a lot. So we need to keep up with those developments and make sure that the RIPE NCC stays healthy and strong. I want to provide a bit of balance there so that we don't lose sight of the community spirit and the bottom-up process that has made the RIPE community and the RIPE NCC so successful. Of course, I realize that that is not the only thing I will be responsible for as a board member. So there will still be a lot of work on the charging scheme, on the activity plan, and on all the activities that the RIPE NCC has. But like I said, I want to provide a bit of balance to keep the friendly nature, make sure that we treat each other correctly, that the RIPE NCC provides good services, is reliable and stable as a major coordinator of the internet in this part of the world. So those are my main motivations for wanting to join the RIPE NCC board, and I hope you will vote for me. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Piotr Strzyżewski and I am standing for election to the RIPE NCC Executive Board. I am currently a member of the board and have been its secretary for the last 5 years. When I stood for election 3 years ago, I promised to focus on 3 things and I believe I kept my promise. During these years, I was present in each and every corner of our service region, attending all regional meetings, roundtables and events, ensuring and maintaining inclusivity for all our members. Listening to members in all these places ensured that all voices were brought to the attention of the board. I also work with various stakeholders within and outside our community to ensure the stability of the RIR ecosystem. I intend to continue on this path in the coming term, as I believe that maintaining a strong relationship and dialogue with all parts of our community will contribute to the work for the future of RIPE NCC. Now, I would like to ask you to cast your votes. But before you do that, I would like to ask you to do so. Over the past few weeks, we've seen heated discussion on the mailing list, with disinformation being spread time and again, causing a lot of misunderstanding and evoking emotion. We've been presented seemingly easy solution to problems that haven't even been clearly defined. And while debate is always welcome, the tone has at times been less than pleasant. With this in mind, I would like to ask you to do all the things you normally do before clicking on a link on the internet. Treat all candidates, including myself, as such links and ask yourself the same important questions. Do I trust this link? Do I know the source? Do I know the intention behind? And once you know the answers, please cast your votes. I trust you choose wisely. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Alexey Volodin. Today I'd like to share some ideas that I believe will improve our work at RIPE NCC. You can find information about me and my work experience in my biography on the RIPE NCC website. As a member of RIPE NCC Executive Board, I will focus on enhancing our communication with the community to ensure our actions are clear and effective. I am addresses the issue of fair fees. As the cost of supporting a global and open internet continue to grow, it is crucial to find a fair way to share this cost between new and old members, considering their different resources and needs. With the limited availability of IPv4 and the importance of transition to IPv6, I will support efforts to accelerate this change. This transition is critical for the future development of our internet infrastructure. Additionally, I advocate for free access for the internet aligning with RIPE NCC mission. My goal is development financial model that ensure the organization long-term health and enable us to fulfill our mission. This will involve active dialogue and cooperation with the community to shape the future of RIPE NCC. Thank you for watching. I value your time and support. Please support my candidacy for the RIPE NCC Executive Board, and together let's share a bright future for our internet community.
Excellent. So you saw all the candidates. So now you can decide. And please, before that, let me acknowledge them that because, you know, it needs some bravery to stand in front of people and saying, I will be a candidate. I know it from my experience. So again, guys, thank you very much for your candidacy. Also, let me acknowledge the creative technical solution, especially I think the audio connection was world class, I would say. Thank you very much for the improvisation. Before I will read the resolution, I was informed by Ulke that we forgot to read one of the comments, so I would like to let it read, please, Ulke.
We have a comment from Dmitry Serbulov saying about budget economy, maybe we should do a survey among all RIPE NCC members. What do they want? To pay less and not have access to scarce resources, or to pay more but have access to scarce resources? We also have a comment from Sebastian Jurges from Bundesdruckerei saying a suggestion for the next GM, if you have videos of candidates, upload first. Give members the URL and a time slot during the GM to watch instead of streaming, bad audio, desync, and a waste of time.
Okay. I will not comment the second one, of course. We understand that this was a little bit unpleasant situation. But to the first comment, you know, we run the survey, so we are really happy to continue this practice, and we'll try to collect that feedback, especially specifically as he mentioned. So with that, I think Carla is next, right?
Hi everyone, I'm Carla from the communications team at the RIPE NCC, and I'm going to take you through the voting platform and procedure. I've managed to make this 27 slides. I don't know how, but I'll try and be quick with the interlude. Here we go. So let's start with some numbers. Oh no, let's do administration first. Forgot that bit. So in line with the Articles of Association, the chair of the general meeting decided that voting taking place at this GM will be electronic only and no paper ballots. Now the numbers. So for this general meeting, we had 2,001 votes registered from 19,746 eligible members. What does that mean? That means a voter turnout of 10.1% at this GM, which correlates a bit from the October 2020 to the May 2022 kind of timeline. And then per country, we've got Germany, Russia, UK, and the Netherlands at the top there. And then shout out to Poland, because that's where we are. All of these slides are on the website if you'd like to take a look at these numbers. So the resolutions. There are 3 to be voted on. The first 2 requires more than 50% of the yes votes to pass. And then resolution 3 is using instant runoff voting. Please note that abstentions are noted but do not count. I will be saying that a lot throughout this presentation. So the executive board election, there are 6 candidates, as you saw, to fill 2 seats. We're going to use instant runoff for that one as well. And we're going to be ranking the candidates. So you must choose at least 1 candidate on the ballot for it to be considered, or you can abstain. And you must number them in order of preference. I've got some images in a minute to show you what that looks like on there. Again, abstentions are noted. So instant runoff voting, I'm going to try and explain this the best I can. Voters rank the candidates in order of preference, and it's preferential, where candidates have to receive more than 50% of the top preference votes to be elected. So I've kind of tried to break this down a bit. So you rank the candidates, so you're going to rank them first, second, third, whatever you'd like. And then the system counts the votes, and then in the first round, the first choice votes are counted. The first election winner is the candidate with more than 50% of those first choice votes. Then the system eliminates. So if there's no candidate that receives more than 50 in a voting round, the candidate with the fewest top preference votes is eliminated. then it redistributes, and then the system recalculates in the order of preference. And then that process repeats until we've got the top choices or the top candidates. If that made no sense, we have a lovely video on the website that you can watch at your own leisure. So, how to vote. By now, you should have received 2 emails in your inboxes. The first one contains your voting code 2, that's your GM registration number. You need that to log into the voting platform. Then you've got another email in your inbox that has the link to the election platform. This also has voting code 1, but that should be pre-filled, so you shouldn't have to worry about that one. You just have to click vote now. And then that takes you to the platform. Code 1's pre-filled. You just need to add your voting code 2 and hit go to ballot. Voting timer. I got some questions last, I think at the autumn GM about this timer. So basically the timer begins when you open the platform and you have 40 minutes to complete the process. But if you leave the platform and then come back, that timer just starts again. It doesn't mean you've got 40 minutes forever. It'll come back if you exit the browser and come back again. So how to vote. So you've logged into the platform, you're on resolution 1. Now, resolutions 1 and 2, you can choose yes, no, or abstain, but you must choose one option to continue. So confirm your selection. Now, if you have several votes, as I know many of you do, you can assign them using those little arrows there, and then in each of the boxes, if you've got 20 votes and you assign 15, it will then, if you confirm and cast, it will ask you to then, it will then ask you to do the next ones. Click continue. Once you've got it all, the little green bar will come up saying you've assigned all your votes. If you haven't assigned all your votes, it won't let you continue. And then resolution 3 also uses the instant runoff voting system. So again, you can rank 1, 2, or 3, or you can choose to abstain. Again, if you've got several votes, you can assign them using the little arrows in the drop down and confirm and cast. Once you've done all of your votes, click continue. Now, the executive board election, again, uses instant runoff voting. I think I've said that about 20 times now. You rank the candidates, you choose as many as you like. You can choose one candidate if you'd like, or you can choose, you can rank them all, or you can choose to abstain. And then click continue. Repeat until you've signed all your votes. So then you will then be shown all the voting selections for all the resolutions and the election. Check your votes, check they're all correct, and then submit your vote. Now you can, it's optional, but you can track your vote. If you type down that number, or you can take a photo of the QR code, or just go to the QR code, it'll open up the track your ballot page, which looks like this. And then you can have a look and track what the ballot history on that page. Important information, you need to complete the entire voting process for the vote to be validated. So if you come out the browser halfway through, you haven't cast your ballot. So make sure you go through the whole process and get that receipt at the end. To receive the emails from Assembly Voting, your server does need to be TLS 1.2 compliant. We've had a few issues there. Tracking pixel. In the autumn GM, Randy Bush, I know you're watching. Hi, Randy, asked about the tracking pixel. So I went away and I had a look. There obviously is one. This is to track the opening of the voting emails. So we only use this information to send that reminder, because it's probably going to be quite annoying if you've voted and then you get a reminder. Assembly Voting does not use this information for anything else. And again, as I said at the start, there are no paper ballots at this GM. Troubleshooting. If you've not received your emails by 7 p.m. Polish time, please contact us at agm@ripe.net. And if you're on site, I'm going to be at the registration desk, so ask for me, I'm Carla, or just ask for the GM organization team and we can help you out. I'll be there from 9 till 6. And the emails come from no reply, so please check your spam for that email. And if you're using Safari on the mobile, the pre-filled code doesn't always appear, but it is in the email, so you can copy and paste it. And please be aware that Internet Explorer cannot be used to access the system. So for any questions, please come to me at the Reg Desk or email agm@ripe.net, and we are here to help. The results. So voting can take place once the chair in a minute, once Andre declares it open. Give it a few minutes because we actually have to get the system going after he says it. And votes can be cast until 9 a.m. UTC+2 on Friday, the 24th of May. And we will announce them on the live stream, which you should have got a link with the Meet Echo link, and will be announced in here in the main room. So, kind questions only because it's my birthday.
Peter Hessler from ZEO. First off, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Second, you mentioned there's a 40-minute timer.
Yeah.
Can you describe what happens if that timer should run out?
It just for, you know, like when any timed browser, it just stops, so you can't move on.
Okay. Does it save your state and like, or you have to restart from?
No, you have to
beginning?
restart, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, sure. Hi.
Hi, Peter Koch-Dienig. First of all, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And a lot of other birthdays to come. I don't have a question, I have a request. And I have had the request a couple of times before, so that's all not your fault. And instead, I could have probably provided a video as well. But then, the request is about the slide with the demographics of the registered votes.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the NCC is trying to tell us with this. The country and the number per country is maybe interesting, but there are lots of other aspects. And even though this is the May meeting, and we usually have a proximity to the Eurovision Song Contest, which might have inspired this, I do think two things. First of all, if this is to inform the community, then I would like to know what I'm supposed to be informed about by seeing this before the votes are cast. If it is for an analysis, which could be interesting, then the sheer number of votes per country that are registered is probably less interesting, as putting this in comparison to the LIRs per country, showing demographics of the quote age of the member or other things. So my request for clarification is, what the hell is this about? And if it's not important, then strike it, or we do, and I do think we need these demographics, so they could inform the process, but then first of all, that should happen afterwards. And yeah, that's it. And next time, video, promised.
Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback. I'm considering whether I should propose to the board to form a task force to address that issue.
Not without having a process for that, Hans-Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Hey, Blake with ZEO Europe. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks again for the explanation. Just to add some clarity, the keyword in ranked choice voting is choice. It's not like rank everything 1 to N. A ranked choice vote is still a vote. So don't vote for something that you don't want to see. Like specifically in the board candidates, if there's a candidate that you would prefer not to see on the board, then leave it blank. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Lars Lehmann from NetNode. Again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I am just curious about that tracking code and QR thing at the end. What exactly should I expect to happen to my vote after it's been cast so that I need to track it?
It's literally a receipt to say that you've got it.
Thank you.
It's been done. And also, if anything happened with your vote, it would appear there. So it's for you to know that your vote's been cast and nothing else has happened.
Thanks.
No worries. I think that's everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Before I will read the resolution, I think I was told that I cut off somebody from the microphone. I think it was Tobias or something. Is it solved already? I apologize, I couldn't see you. So it's done, thanks. So I have the last agenda item, and that's the voting on the resolutions. So let me read all the resolutions we will be voting on. Resolution number 1, the General Meeting adopts the RIPE NCC Financial Report 2023. Resolution number 2, the General Meeting discharges the Executive Board with regards of its action as they appear from the Annual Report 2023 and Financial Report 2023. Resolution number 3, we have 3 options. So option A, the General Meeting adopts the RIPE NCC Charging Scheme 2025 Model A. Option B says Model B. Option C says Model C. I will not read it if you don't mind. And then we have Executive Board elections. So the RIPE NCC Executive Board election is to fill 2 seats. There are 6 candidates: Osama Al-Dusari, Artem Izbayenkov, Pavel Odinsov, Sander Stefan, Piotr Strzeżewski, and Alexei Volodin. So here are your heroes. Please choose 2 of them. And with that, I don't see any other comments. So let me declare that the voting is open, and the General Meeting will reconvene on Friday, 10:30 local time in this room, I guess, right? Yes. Excellent. So see you on Friday, and we will see the results. And thank you very much for your valuable input. Thank you.